Okay, so continuing with the ear, let's start filling out these other parts. So for example here, oops, let me switch to this view. So here I'll go at the back once more, and I will go to edge selection. I'll select this, hold shift and select this edge and do another bridge. Press Q. I'll switch to full view, control space bar, so we can have a bigger view of this. I'll select this, hold shift and select this also, then hold shift once more, right click, and then I'll choose bridge once again. Now it starts to fill up, pressing Q. Okay, so this time let's start target welding these portions to close them up. So what I will do is, since the shift right click does not show the target weld that we have here or that we need, it doesn't show. So what I'll do is I'll just control space bar, and then I'll choose vertex selection, and then I'll turn on the target weld, and then I will start to weld these portions. This one I'll target weld it to this, same with this one, I'll target weld it here, and then this one also I'll target weld it here, and then this one I'll target weld it here. So now that I have that done, I will turn off the target weld, and then I will turn on the edge slide so that the vertices can slide along the edges. W for move, dragging it down so it appears as if it is receding into that area. Same case with this, holding shift so that I can select both, and then I can select this and move it also there. Now I can select these vertices here on the side, and I can also drag them just to narrow this a bit to have that roundness. If I press number 3, see, so that the roundness would appear. So again, just doing some of that here, and then this one I'll do the same and push. This one also drag a bit here, then here. Okay, saving my work, turning off the edge slide, and then I'll press number 3 once more to see the effect. Pressing 1, saving work. Oops, let me turn this on once again, and I'll just drag this here a bit there. Pressing 3 there, off, 1, save work. So next is I will try and bridge this going here, so viewing with the reference here. So I will turn this off. I will cross this or extrude towards, let's say we will extrude towards this. Okay, so how do we do that? We just go to our polygon selection. So I can do control space bar, and then I will right click and choose face selection. Now I can select this, and in the reference side I can hold shift and I can drag this to extrude manually, pressing E to do a rotation of that extrusion. Going back to the move tool, hold shift and drag once more there, and then I'll just do one more just for the sake of the curvature. Shift and drag. Okay, so what I will do next is, these new extrusions have those faces underneath. So what I'll do is, pressing Q, I'll select and delete them. I am doing that so that I can target weld it again, the vertices. So what I'll do is just a simple control spacebar, vertex selection, turning on the target weld, and then I will just click these corners at the bottom, drag it to those corners at the bottom, doing it the same just like earlier, and then I'll turn it off. I'll turn on the slides or edge slide, and then I'll just move W for the move tool and drag that. So careful dragging there, right? And then I'll just I'll keep it on as I move this once more, going along there for some roundness of the model. So just rounding it off there, turning it off, saving the work. So there it is. So next is, once more I will start doing, let's say once more I will start doing the edge bridge here. So I can select this, I can select that, and then I can bridge it with this edge and go to bridge. So it starts, and then I can select this one and this, right? And then I can bridge it once more, and same goes with this. So bridge, pressing Q. So they're all okay for now. Okay, and then the next one, to finish off this the outer line of the ear here. So what I can do is, again, go back, control space bar, I'll go back to the face selection. So let's say I need this side here. So right click, switch back to face selection, selecting this face here, or I can select this face here. Okay, so let's say this one here, the fourth one, okay, of the extrusion, but it's not angling properly. So what I'll do instead is I'll switch to right click, choose edge, and then I can double click this edge here so that I can select that loop. W for move, and then I'll just carefully select this here, and then I'll just carefully select this here, and then here, and then here, there. So I'll just select and select, and then select. There it is. There. There. And then with that, I will just right click, switch to the face selection. Now I can select this there, and then I can start to shift, click and drag and follow that, right? So I can switch to vertex selection, carefully adjust this so it will not be confusing for me. I'll just align those edges and vertices a bit there. So okay, we have that. So right click once more, go back to the faces, and then I'll just press E to rotate this, to angle it properly, or scaling it along this. Okay, so there. W for move, shift click drag. So let's say another rotate is needed. W, let's say that there. Shift click drag, so I can turn it here, And just one more, shift click drag. Or I don't need to do that, shift click drag. I can just press Q, and then I'll just select the opposite polygon here, and then I can hold shift, right click, and then oops, here there's nothing there, right? Once more, shift right click. Okay, so I am looking for the bridge, right? There's no bridge here for the faces, right? So I can control space bar, and then I can choose the bridge here. Oops, it's not bridging also. Oops, sorry about that. It's not bridging because if I delete that, there are polygons underneath. Okay, so I need to delete these polygons here, there. So next thing is I can also delete the polygon here and also here. Yeah, so with that done, I can select those edges, and then those edges I can bridge there, pressing Q, and then turning on or pressing number 3 for smooth view. So I have that. Alright, pressing 1, so that is okay. Just using the vertex selection right now to just tweak a little of the model so that when smoothening it appears fine. And then saving work, I'll switch once more, right click, switch to edge selection, select this, pressing Q, selecting one, hold shift, selecting the next one here, because the obvious thing here is we need one more edge for the roundness of this. So I will just shift and right click, do a connect. There, the connection is done. Pressing Q, and then right click, choose vertex selection, carefully move it using the move tool to align to that reference. And then while I also follow the form here for the ear, so let's say that's the earlobe, and then carefully I can switch to face selection, carefully dragging this forward outside there, and then here I can right click, choose edge, select this, push it inwards, and then oops, sorry, same goes with this one, so I'll push those two inwards there, pressing 3, yeah, something like that. One, saving work, and there it is. And then I'll just carefully position this just to round them off, just rounding it, something like that. There, no? And then here, just careful dragging, saving work, there. So one last for this is the starting or the creation of the hole for the ear. So what I can do is I can double click this edge, pressing Q, I'll double click this edge there, and then I can press R, scale. I will first here, I will not press anything. I will just go here and just drag it so the edges are going inwards like this. And then I'll press W to slightly move those or angle those edges towards that's the ear canal or the cavity of the ear there. And then here I will use the scale tool now, pressing R and then holding shift and drag. This is when I start to extrude. There. And then I will carefully press W, push this inwards. There. So that's how I'll do that. I can press R once more and do a scale tool. Slightly thin that in. And then I'll press R once more, hold shift and drag it inwards again for the next layer. And then I'll push it inwards further, like that. And as I'm pushing it, I can drag this towards the hole once more here. I'll do the same for this loop of edges here. I can right click, switch to the edge selection. I'll double click this and I can drag that towards there. Then I can return to the inner hole that I've created, double clicking that, and then I'll just shift click and drag inwards again. And let me just drag it further inwards here, there. And while I am inside here, I can now shift and right click this and choose circularize. So now this will start to become an ear hole. There, as you can see it. Now pressing W for move tool. Let's put it on a higher angle look. There. So you can see it clearly. I can select this second layer of lines or of edges. And then I can shift right click once more and do a circularize so that it follows. So there. Or I can go to down here. I can go to edit mesh and I can choose average the vertices, and it's like in betweening, right? In betweening those vertices in its form. So here also I can just drag them carefully there, and then I can start also rotating this. For example, here I can press E and rotate this carefully. W for move. I'm not shift dragging anymore. I'm just doing my rotations to form this following the hole. W, dragging it. Oops, sorry. Dragging it there. Pressing E. There. Pressing R. Scaling it inwards a bit. There. So now if I press W or number 3, there, the ear is starting to form out. Okay, and with this I'll right click, go back to object mode selection, saving my work, control space bar. I'll bring out the rest. So this, holding shift, I'll drag it here. So far that's going to be my ear base number 3 there. Right, now I'm saving my work, selecting all of this. I'll go to edit, delete all by type history, control H to hide. So now I will start to complete the ear. So completing the ear means having it ready also for connection or binding. I'll just double click this edge here. I can press shift click and drag there, and then with that I can press R and then scale it inwards. Remember that this is the polygon that's going to be connected to the head or going to be bridged towards the head there, right? Let's say a little angled like that, and I'll have this adjusted accordingly so that it stays away from that or from those set of polygons there. Okay, so with that the ear is going to be almost ready. So I'll see you on the next lesson. Let's just undo that. Saving work.